Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. The acrid smell of smoke and chemicals filled the air as flames engulfed the small workshop. Jaden scrambled to escape, his heart pounding as the fire closed in around him. In a desperate attempt to reach safety, he stumbled and fell, knocking over a container of volatile substances. The resulting explosion sent searing pain through his body as the chemicals ignited, leaving severe burns across his skin. Time seemed to blur as Jaden drifted in and out of consciousness. The wail of sirens, the rush of medical personnel, fragments of worried conversations, it all blended together in a haze of agony and confusion. When lucidity finally returned, Jaden found himself in a sterile hospital room, bandaged from head to toe. "You're very lucky to be alive," the doctor said gently. "The burns were extensive, but we've been able to stabilize your condition. You'll need to undergo a series of reconstructive surgeries, but with time and proper care, you should make a full recovery." Jaden tried to nod, but even that small movement sent pain lancing through his body. As the doctor continued explaining the treatment plan, Jaden's mind wandered. He'd poured his heart and soul into that workshop, building his small business from the ground up. Now it was all gone in an instant. What would he do now? How would he recover from this, physically or financially? The next few weeks passed in a blur of pain medication, bandage changes, and endless tests. Jaden tried to stay positive, but the constant discomfort and uncertainty about his future weighed heavily. When the day of his first reconstructive surgery finally arrived, he felt a mix of hope and trepidation. "We'll take good care of you," the nurse assured him as she prepared the anesthesia. "Just relax and count backwards from 10. Jaden's eyelids grew heavy as he began to count. 10, 9, 8. The world faded to black before he reached 7. Hours stretched into days, then weeks, then months, as Jaden remained in a medically induced coma to aid his recovery. Unbeknownst to the unconscious patient, a critical error had occurred. In the chaos of the busy hospital, Jaden's medical records had become mixed up with those of another patient, one who was undergoing feminizing hormone therapy as part of gender transition treatment. As Jaden's body slowly healed from the burns and surgeries, it was also undergoing unexpected changes. The hormones reshaped muscle and bone structure, redistributed body fat, and triggered the growth of chest tissue. When the decision was finally made to bring Jaden out of the coma, the person who awoke was markedly different from the one who had first arrived at the hospital all those months ago. Elise's eyes fluttered open, squinting against the harsh fluorescent lights. Her mind felt foggy, struggling to piece together fragmented memories. There had been a fire, pain, then nothing but darkness for so long. As awareness slowly returned, she became conscious of how strange her body felt. Lighter somehow, softer. A nurse appeared at her bedside, smiling warmly. "Welcome back! How are you feeling?" Elise opened her mouth to respond, but only a hoarse whisper emerged. Her throat felt raw from disuse. The nurse offered her some water, holding the straw to her lips. "Don't try to talk just yet," the nurse advised. "You've been in a coma for quite a while. It will take some time for your body to readjust." Elise nodded weakly, sinking back against the pillows. As the fog in her mind began to clear, questions swirled. Why did her chest feel so heavy? Why did her face feel different when she touched it? And why did the nurse keep referring to her as she? Over the next few days, as Elise regained her strength, the full extent of the changes became apparent. Her once broad shoulders had narrowed, her facial features had softened. Even her voice, when she was finally able to speak, was higher and more feminine. The doctors explained the mix-up with clear distress, profusely apologizing for the error. They outlined the feminizing effects of the hormone therapy and offered to begin reversing the process immediately. To everyone's surprise, including her own, Elise declined. I think I want to stay like this," she said softly, looking down at her changed body with a mixture of awe and uncertainty. "It feels right, somehow." The medical team was taken aback but supportive. They arranged for Elise to speak with a therapist specializing in gender identity to help her process this unexpected transition. As the conversations unfolded over the following weeks, Elise came to realize that she had always struggled with her gender identity, even if she hadn't fully understood or acknowledged it before. The accident and subsequent changes had simply brought those feelings to the surface. As Elise's recovery progressed, she threw herself into embracing her new identity. She worked with a voice coach to refine her speaking patterns and practiced applying makeup with the help of some of the nurses. Shopping for a new wardrobe became an exciting adventure, though it was sometimes overwhelming to navigate the world of women's fashion after a lifetime of t-shirts and jeans. How about this one? Elise held up a floral sundress, her eyes bright with excitement. She stood in the fitting room of a department store, surrounded by a colorful array of clothing options. Her friend Mia, who had been helping her adjust to life as a woman, nodded approvingly. "That pattern really brings out the green in your eyes. Try it on." Elise slipped the dress over her head, relishing the feel of the soft fabric against her skin. As she turned to look in the mirror, her breath caught in her throat. The woman staring back at her was beautiful, feminine, and undeniably herself. For the first time since waking up in the hospital, Elise felt truly comfortable in her own skin. "It's perfect," she whispered, smoothing her hands over the skirt. Mia grinned, giving her a playful nudge. "See? I told you shopping could be fun. Now, let's find you some cute shoes to go with it." As they made their way through the store, Elise found herself marveling at how natural it felt to be shopping for dresses and heels. She had worried that she would feel like an imposter, but instead, each new outfit felt like stepping closer to her true self. The journey wasn't always easy, of course. There were moments of doubt and frustration as Elise navigated the complexities of her new life. Learning to walk in heels proved to be a particular challenge, leading to more than a few stumbles and sore ankles. "I don't know how anyone does this," Elise grumbled, wobbling as she practiced walking across her living room in a pair of strappy sandals. "It's like trying to balance on toothpicks," Mia laughed, steadying her friend with a hand on her elbow. "It takes practice, but you'll get there. Just think of it as a new skill to master." Elise took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders, determined to conquer this latest hurdle. With each step, she found her balance improving, her confidence growing. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. Another step towards fully embracing her new identity. As the weeks turned into months, Elise began to settle into her new life. She returned to work, grateful that her employer had been understanding about her extended absence and unexpected changes. Her colleagues were supportive, though there was inevitably a period of adjustment as everyone adapted to the new dynamic. "Elise, great to have you back," her coworker Tom greeted her on her first day back at the office. He paused, clearly unsure of how to proceed. You're looking... well?" Elise smiled, appreciating his attempt at normalcy. "Thanks, Tom. It's good to be back. How about you catch me up on what I've missed?" As they fell into discussion about ongoing projects, Elise felt a sense of relief wash over her. She was still the same person inside, with the same skills and knowledge. Her appearance may have changed, but her core identity remained intact. Outside of work, Elise found herself navigating a whole new world of social interactions. Dating as a woman was a particularly novel experience, filled with both excitement and trepidation. She decided to be upfront about her unique situation, wanting to avoid any potential misunderstandings or hurt feelings down the line. Her first date since the transition was with a kind-hearted man named Chris, whom she had met through a mutual friend. They agreed to meet for coffee, a low-pressure setting that helped ease Elise's nerves. "I have to admit, I was a bit surprised when Mia told me about your background," Chris said as they settled into a cozy booth at the cafe. "But I'm really impressed by your courage in embracing who you are." Elise felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. "Thank you. It's been a journey, that's for sure. But I feel more like myself now than I ever did before." As they chatted, Elise found herself relaxing, enjoying the easy flow of conversation. Chris was attentive and respectful, asking thoughtful questions about her experiences without making her feel like a curiosity. By the time they parted ways, Elise felt a flutter of excitement at the prospect of seeing him again. "I had a really nice time," she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Chris smiled warmly. "Me too. Would you like to have dinner next week?" Elise nodded, her heart light with possibility. As she watched Chris walk away, she marveled at how far she had come. From the tragedy of the fire to the confusion of waking up in a changed body, she had emerged stronger and more authentic than ever before. The following months brought a whirlwind of new experiences as Elise continued to explore her femininity. She discovered a love for dance classes, reveling in the graceful movements that came more naturally to her new body. Yoga became a daily practice, helping her connect with her physical form in a way she never had before. One sunny afternoon, Elise found herself in a local park, spread out on a yoga mat as she moved through a series of poses. The grass was cool beneath her, the breeze carrying the scent of nearby flowers. As she transitioned into warrior pose, she caught sight of her reflection in a nearby pond. The woman looking back at her was strong, poised, and undeniably feminine. Elise held the pose, drinking in the image of herself. It wasn't just her appearance that had changed. There was a confidence in her bearing, a sense of inner peace that radiated from within. As she finished her routine, Elise noticed an older woman watching her with a smile. "You move so beautifully," the woman commented. "You must have been doing yoga for years." Elise laughed softly, gathering up her mat. "Actually, I only started a few months ago, but thank you. It means a lot to hear that." The woman nodded approvingly. "Well, you're a natural. It's wonderful to see someone so in tune with their body." As Elise made her way home, those words echoed in her mind, in tune with their body. For so long, she had felt disconnected from her physical self, as if she were living in a shell that didn't quite fit. Now, for the first time, she felt truly whole. The journey wasn't without its challenges, of course. There were still moments of dysphoria, times when Elise caught sight of a feature that reminded her of her former self and felt a pang of discomfort. But those moments became fewer and farther between as time passed. One of the most significant hurdles came when Elise decided it was time to reconnect with her family. She had been putting it off, unsure of how to explain her transformation to those who had known her as Jaden for so long. Finally, with the support of her therapist and friends, she made the call. "Mom, it's me. We need to talk." The conversation that followed was long and emotional. Elise's mother was shocked, confused, and initially skeptical. But as Elise shared her story, the accident, the medical mix-up, and the profound sense of rightness she felt in her new identity, understanding began to dawn. "Oh, sweetheart," her mother said, her voice thick with tears. "I always sensed there was something you were struggling with. I just want you to be happy." Those words of acceptance were like a balm to Elise's soul. She had been prepared for rejection, for anger or disbelief. Instead, she found love and support. It wasn't perfect. There were still questions to be answered, adjustments to be made. But it was a start. As the seasons changed, so too did Elise's life continue to evolve. She found herself becoming an inadvertent advocate for transgender rights, sharing her unique story with those who were curious and open to learning. Her experience of suddenly finding herself in a female body gave her a unique perspective on gender identity and the arbitrary nature of societal expectations. "It's not about the body you're born with," she explained to a group at a local community center. "It's about who you are inside and how you choose to express that. I was lucky in a way. My outside suddenly matched my inside. But for many people, it's a much longer and more difficult journey." Her words resonated with many, and Elise found herself building a supportive community around her. She became a mentor to younger transgender individuals, offering guidance and understanding as they navigated their own paths. As her confidence grew, Elise also rediscovered her passion for engineering. She began to explore ways to combine her technical skills with her new perspective on gender and identity. This led her to develop innovative designs for prosthetics and adaptive equipment that were more inclusive and customizable for individuals of all gender identities. Her work caught the attention of a leading medical technology company, and soon Elise found herself at the forefront of a new initiative to create more gender-affirming medical devices. It was challenging, rewarding work that allowed her to make a real difference in people's lives. "I never could have imagined this is where my life would lead," Elise mused one evening as she sat in her home office, reviewing design schematics. "But I wouldn't change it for anything." As she looked out the window at the setting sun, Elise felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over her. The accident that had once seemed like the end of her world had instead opened up a new one one where she could finally be her true self. The chemical fire that had scarred her body had also, in a roundabout way, healed her soul. It wasn't the path she would have chosen, but it was the one that had led her to authenticity and self-acceptance. Elise smiled to herself, turning back to her work with renewed enthusiasm. She couldn't wait to see what the future held, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them as her genuine self. As the years passed, Elise's life continued to flourish in ways she never could have anticipated. Her relationship with Chris deepened, blossoming into a partnership built on mutual respect, understanding, and love. They weathered the challenges that came with Elise's unique situation, growing stronger together with each obstacle overcome. On a crisp autumn evening, as they strolled hand in hand through a local vineyard, Chris surprised Elise by dropping to one knee among the rows of grapevines. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of pink and gold as he presented a delicate ring, his eyes shining with love and certainty. "Elise," he began, his voice filled with emotion. "You are the most incredible, courageous person I've ever known. Your journey has inspired me to be a better man, and I can't imagine spending my life with anyone else. Will you marry me?" Tears of joy sprang to Elise's eyes as she nodded emphatically. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "Yes!" She threw her arms around Chris, laughing and crying all at once. As he slipped the ring onto her finger, Elise marveled at how perfectly it fit. Not just the ring, but this moment, this life she had built for herself. Their wedding day dawned bright and clear, a perfect reflection of the joy that filled Elise's heart. As she stood before the mirror in her flowing white gown, she barely recognized the radiant woman staring back at her. Gone was the confusion and fear that had once clouded her eyes. In its place was a serene confidence, a deep-seated knowledge that she was exactly who she was meant to be. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," her mother said, stepping into the room. She crossed to Elise, taking her hands and squeezing them gently. "I'm so proud of you, and so happy to see you like this." Elise felt her throat tighten with emotion. "Thanks, Mom, for everything, for accepting me, for loving me no matter what." As they embraced, Elise felt the last lingering doubts melt away. She was surrounded by love and acceptance, about to marry the man of her dreams. Life had taken her on an unexpected journey, but it had led her to exactly where she was meant to be. The ceremony was a blur of happy tears and heartfelt vows. As Elise and Chris sealed their union with a kiss, cheers erupted from their gathered friends and family. The reception that followed was a joyous celebration of love in all its forms, a testament to the power of acceptance and the beauty of being true to oneself. As the newlyweds swayed together during their first dance, Elise leaned her head against Chris's chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "I never thought I could be this happy," she murmured. Chris tightened his arms around her, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. "You deserve all the happiness in the world, Elise. I'm just grateful I get to be part of it." Elise and Chris's marriage was a symphony of joy, resilience, and unspoken understanding, each note building on the last to create a melody uniquely theirs. After their wedding, a day of radiant smiles, heartfelt vows, and dancing beneath a canopy of stars, they settled into a life that felt both new and timeless. They purchased a charming house on a quiet street lined with oak trees, its wide windows flooding the rooms with sunlight, and its backyard blooming with wildflowers Elise tended with care. Inside, Chris's handcrafted furniture, a sturdy oak dining table, a sleek rocking chair, mingled with Elise's touches. Colorful throw pillows, framed photos of their adventures, and shelves lined with books on engineering and gender studies. Elise's career soared as she continued her groundbreaking work in gender-affirming medical technology. Her designs for prosthetics and adaptive devices earned her recognition, and she often returned from conferences with a glow of pride, Chris at her side, beaming as her biggest supporter. At home, they balanced their ambitions with a domestic rhythm that felt sacred, cooking dinners together, binge-watching series on lazy Sundays, or sipping coffee on their porch as dawn painted the sky in soft pinks and golds. Years earlier, Elise had taken a monumental step in her journey of self-discovery, gender-affirming surgery. The decision came after months of reflection, therapy, and conversations with Chris, who had held her hand through every doubt and triumph. The scars faded with time, but the sense of wholeness lingered, a quiet victory she carried in her stride, her smile, her very being. Chris embraced her fully, his love unwavering, and their physical connection deepened, enriched by this new chapter of her femininity. Elise loved the way her body felt now, soft, curvaceous, and unmistakably hers, and Chris adored it. What began as a tentative dance in their early days blossomed into more. Thanks for watching. The rest won't be viewable on YouTube, so check out Patreon if you want more. I hope you have a wonderful day, my cutie.